With us on set, the voice of UConn Husky Sports, Joe D'Ambrosio. Joe, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation.
Good to be here. Who do you guys like in that BC-Saskatchewan game?
I think BC's pass offense is really going to test the Saskatchewan secondary. That's what I think.
The Rough Riders, I think, get the win tonight, Jeremy. I'm going to disagree
really?
there.
Okay.
Yeah. BC's got some injuries they're dealing with. Joe, do you want to be the determiner there?
I always like the Rough Riders. There's just something about that name.
Okay.
So. Now, where does Austin play? Which team does he play on?
BC Lions.
Then I'll take the BC Lions.
There you go.
I think they'll win.
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian, former BYU quarterback and USC coach, was a member of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders at one point.
I did not think we'd talk about the CFL this much. And
maybe he learned some of his pre-rally stuff when he played up there.
Let's talk about UConn BYU. Now, you were on the show twice last year.
Yes, I feel like I'm a member of the crew here.
Yeah, and then the week of UConn. So here we are again, but this time in Provo. What do you think of Provo so far? First trip out here?
It's my first trip here. I was telling the lovely Lauren, who ferreted me over here from the hotel, that we were in Salt Lake City for basketball in '95. It's great. The kids love the stadium. We had our walkthrough yesterday. I mean, it's a tremendous facility. I mean, there's such history here with BYU, and last year obviously UConn didn't give them much of a game, but just the facility and everything, I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm not looking forward to the 10:21 Eastern or 10:26 if it slides.
Yep.
Kickoff time.
Now, there are those exterior factors. This is a very late game for UConn. Throw in the 2 time zone shift that gets to some teams. The
longest trip in regular season history.
In regular season, there's been some dispute whether this is longer than when we played in the Fiesta Bowl, but I'll let Rand McNally figure that out.
Okay.
As the crow flies.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
is that concern? Like, are the players and the coaches concerned about that?
I joked with Bob Diaco on our tape in our pregame interview. I said the old guys who do the broadcast will have a tougher time with the 10:21 Eastern kickoff time.
And the altitude.
Because let's be honest, guys, college kids are up at 10:15, 10:25 at night, and I don't think the altitude is that big of a deal. I mean, it's only a one-day trip, and they're in great shape. So no, I don't think. Again, I think it'll be more of a problem for us in the booth than it'll be for the kids down on the field.
When you look at UConn, 2 wins last year, you already have 2 this year. How much better are the Huskies this season?
Jaron, they're a lot better in every phase. I mean, last year was Bob Diaco's first year. He had to implement his systems. He basically tore everything up and started from scratch. Everybody was very disappointed, but he brought almost everybody back on the defense, which has been their strength. Brought a lot of the key personnel back on the offense, except for Jeremy Davis, who's playing for the Giants now. He's really got the players understanding what he wants them to do. It's a different culture. There's a lot more confidence. The 2 games that they lost to Missouri and Navy were games that they could have won, but they just didn't play consistently enough in all 3 phases. So they're a lot better team. And look, in the American Athletic Conference, it's not the SEC. Who knows what's going to happen there? I mean, they've already lost once to Navy, but the goal is to get to 6 wins and to get to a bowl game for the first time in 5 years.
Do you see that? Do you see UConn in a bowl game?
It's nip and tuck, Spence. I don't know if they're going to get to 6. They have Houston and Temple, who are really good in the league. Cincinnati, who beat Miami last night on the road, where UConn's never won. I think 6 this year might be a stretch. I think 2016 is the year that they've been pointing at as being their big year.
Year 2 under Bob Diaco. Now, as the Huskies approach this game with BYU, what is the mindset of UConn going in, knowing that BYU just got blown out by Michigan 31? Do they feel like this is a more winnable game now?
Well, except for the fact that, as Coach has said several times in interviews this week, BYU beat the snot out of UConn last year. It's his words, not mine. Although Colby bent the envelope a little bit too in his interview. No, they don't. In fact, I don't know how much tape they watched of that game, much like Bronco with his team. You can't gain anything out of that because 10 minutes in, it's 28-0. You have to flip the whole game plan. I think the games that they probably looked at a lot were the first 3 games, especially the Boise State game, which was the quarterback's first game. So I think I don't think the Michigan game affects how they feel. They're confident they can go in anywhere and win this year, which may not have been the case last year. So I think, they're going to come and give it their best shot. They know BYU is a very good team. They know they're going to be hungry. They're going to be angry. The place is going to be packed tonight. The weather may not be good. I would advise Colby, don't listen to the meteorologists. Just, that's my mantra to people back in Connecticut, which has them all mad at me. And just, they understand that it's a challenge. They can't play like they did against Missouri and Navy, an incomplete game, and win tonight.
That BYU UConn game last year feels like a million years ago.
It was, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, it was roughly 1 million years ago. Neither starting quarterback in that game is in this game. Case Cochran essentially retired
right.
after that game.
Now part of our radio crew.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, he's doing pregame and halftime and postgame.
Cool.
He is back in Connecticut. He'll probably have his footy pajamas on by the time the postgame show ends.
Excellent. I will too, and our building for the postgame as well. When you look at these two teams, very different, but let's talk about the quarterback matchup. Tell us about Bryant Sheriffs and then what you think of Tanner Mangum.
Bryant Sheriffs played 43 plays a couple of years ago at North Carolina State, transferred. When he played the opener against Villanova, that was the first full game he had played in like 3 years since he was in high school.
He didn't go on an LDS mission 3 years?
He did not.
Okay.
He did not. Or a 3-hour cruise either. He's a mobile quarterback. He gives him more mobility than Casey did. The people forget about Casey getting hurt last year. They would have had more than 2 wins if Casey had been there. And I'm not just saying that because he works with us now. He's a mobile quarterback. He's had a couple of recent games where he might have taken out of the pocket a little bit too quick, but he's got a pretty good arm. He's a good decision maker. He's only fumbled the ball once this year. UConn had all sorts of problems last year in the beginning of games fumbling the football, including the BYU game. And what I see from your quarterback is a kid who I think is going to be great. I mean, he's not Taysom Hill yet. You can't expect that from him. I mean, he was a phenomenal quarterback. But I think the kid has a good arm, confident. Again, throw out what happened last week because that was just a train wreck. I think 2 pretty good quarterbacks. I'm going to be interested to see how they both develop through their careers.
UConn boasts a defense that is top 25 in scoring defense and total yards allowed.
Right.
Do we know through 4 weeks how good this UConn defense is, given who they have played against?
No, I don't think so, because Villanova is not as good as they were last year when they went to the FCS quarterfinals, and it's not the same Army team that ran roughshod over UConn a couple of weeks ago. And as we said off air, if Missouri's a top 25 team, I'll grow hair by the time the game ends.
And
tonight.
BYU plays Missouri later in the year, so BYU fans watch that game with interest.
Yeah, and Matty Mock suspended for them now. I think they're going to be really good, though. The front line has a lot of experience to it. The linebackers are terrific. Number 15, Luke Carazola, has been great. Graham Stewart, the other outside linebacker, is playing his best football at UConn. The cornerbacks are good. The safeties are the strong point of the team. Andrew Adams had 17 tackles against Navy, and Obi Melanfonwu had 13. I think we've seen the defense play well. They've got to get off the field better on third downs. That's an important thing, especially tonight. But I think the defense, by the end of the year, it's going to be a top 25 defense.
What's up with PATs? 4 for
That's
7.
That's a good question.
If you make the PAT against Missouri, that's a field goal for the win.
Exactly, Jared. Bobby Pujols had problems with getting altitude on the kicks, and he went into that game last week knowing if he missed a kick, that was it for him. Michael Tarbutt would have been the kicker, the true freshman. I seem to have the problem solved. He's worked very hard at it. He's a very intense young man who takes a lot of pride in his craft. And as Bob said, it wasn't just Pujol, it was the whole battery. It was the ball getting back, the timing, the line doing enough blocking and stuff. But you can't have a kick blocked, an extra point blocked in 3 consecutive games. I mean, that's high school football, to be honest with you. So hopefully for UConn's sake, Bobby's over that, and that won't be a problem.
Who's the number 1 playmaker on this UConn offense not playing quarterback?
I'll give you 2. I'll give you Arkell Newsome, number 22, who got his first real run at tailback. He's maybe the best high school running back in UConn, in Connecticut high school history, has all the state records. He's fast. He can catch the ball in the flat. He can run kickoffs back, though UConn hasn't run a kickoff back in 52 games now since the Fiesta Bowl. And the other is Noel Thomas, number 5 on the outside. He's their best receiver. He's a playmaker. I'd say Newsome and Thomas are the 2 guys to watch out for tonight, which I'm sure BYU realizes. I'm not breaking any news here.
What? They're writing this down.
Yes, exactly. Because I know Bronco and his staff are watching this to get the inside scoop.
Broncos are number 1 fan.
Every day. They watch it for game plans. Ron Johnson didn't play against Navy.
Right, you saw that correctly. It's just a thing in the passing game. He's not as good in the passing game in every phase of it as Arkell. I would expect Johnson to get some run tonight.
Tailback tonight.
Yeah.
Playing in the American Athletic Conference, BYU fans are interested in what East Carolina and Cincinnati are both going to bring to the table after this UConn game. How good are those teams that BYU still has remaining on the schedule?
I don't think East Carolina's as good as they were last year or the year before, although they changed quarterbacks and got a pretty good win last week. Cincinnati, people might have seen last night, beat Miami. Their redshirt freshman, who they put in at quarterback when Gunther Kiel got hurt again, has played well. Cincinnati's supposed to be the class of the league. They were the preseason pick, which preseason polls and 5-day forecasts have about the same value as well as mock drafts. I think that Cincinnati is a very, very good team. I think East Carolina is a good team. The best teams in the league are Navy, Houston, Memphis, and Cincinnati. So I think Cincinnati will give BYU the stiffer of the two challenges.
Joe D'Ambrosio, the voice of the Huskies, with us on BYU Sports Nation.
I was going to say in the Hawaii Bowl, BYU can match up with an American team as well later in the year.
It won't be a rematch. I know that there have been some mock things saying, it's going to be Cincinnati. No.
How can people predict bowls when we're 4 weeks into the season?
That's a fantastic
Because there's
point.
nothing else to do, Joe.
Okay, I believe
those
that.
people, I guess.
That makes a good point.
Are you one of the guys like Bronco Mendenhall? Hey, we don't need rankings until like week 8. Are you
I'm
like
week
that?
5. I'm in basketball and football. It's senseless because teams that get hosed in the rankings never have a chance to get up to that top 4. Wait 5 weeks, see who pans out, and then go from there. I mean, everybody had Oregon as the top of the world. How'd that work out last week?
Not very
Not
well.
so
And
well.
BYU was a ranked team as well last week.
Yeah.
And Missouri. Missouri was ranked 21. And
Auburn.
They're not that. Auburn, exactly. That's why I would say wait 5 weeks. But if we did that, then we wouldn't have college football talk 12 months a year.
Joe, great
Nailed
to
it.
have you with us on
Great
BYU
to be here,
Sports
guys. Thank
Nation
you. I appreciate
at the
it.
stadium. Joe D'Ambrosio, the voice of the Huskies.